believe very much that Barrow should be removed from the office. For the future of the Gambia, Barrow needs to be removed from office. And if we want to increase that chance, we need to offer the Gambian electorates a different alternative. We cannot go and present the Gambian electorate the same set of candidates like we did in 2021.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ousman Gajigo, a renowned Gambian economist turned politician now. First of all, I'm going to begin with the storm or the criticism that has been generated following your comment about lawyer Hussein Odabo's kind of quote-unquote unelectability for the Gambia in 2026. I mean, one would have expected you to kind of be mild-tempered with the opposition and to be harsh on the incumbent that is Barrow. But you've taken on Dabo. Was it not something that was surprising from opposition sympathizers who might be swayed with your ideology?
I don't know, maybe surprising, but I mean, I've been far more harsh on Barrow. I think in that conversation, in fact, we had I was in a 2-hour program, and probably what I said on Dabo was probably no more than 10 minutes total. And most of my conversation there was almost exclusively, tough on the Barrow government. So I don't consider. I didn't say anything about his, character or anything. I just basically repeated the fact that Dabo had run against Barrow in 2021. Gambians, were given that opportunity. They voted overwhelmingly. I mean, the margin was huge. They voted overwhelmingly for Barrow. So I think, we, the people, in the political class in the Gambia, we need to offer Gambians a different set of alternatives. We give electorates a particular set of candidates. They made a clear choice. If it were very close, we could say something, but this wasn't close. So I think it's listen. The fact is, I don't know for sure if based on we're talking about the future. I cannot predict for sure how the next if another election were to happen between Dabo and Barrow. But going by what I have seen, going by 2021, this is my belief that a Dabo and Barrow matchup. We've seen that we've seen sort of matchup. Now the reason why somebody like me is entering in this race is I believe very much that Barrow should be removed from the office. For the future of the Gambia, Barrow needs to be removed from office. And if we want to increase that chance, we need to offer the Gambian electorates a different alternative. We cannot go and present the Gambian electorate the same set of candidates like we did in 2021. So, which is why I think I have entered this race, and which is why I think it's very important that we don't present the Gambian electorate with the same set of candidates like 2021.
But some might argue that why, with the number of politicians that are already, that have already identified themselves to contest 2026, you didn't see anyone whose manifestos or ideology dovetails with yours to say, okay, let me back this candidate instead of you being a front runner in this. I mean, a lot of people are taking on government politicians to say that, why all of you are coming out to say you want to be president of the country, whose population is like 2 million. Why so many people? I think it's not about quantity, but about quality.
Well, I think you answered your question. Is it about quantity? It's about quality. Now, when I was making this decision to enter politics, I looked at the political landscape, and what I found is that we have the same set of candidates that as 2021, and Gambian electorates made their decision that the available alternatives that they saw wasn't better than the incumbent, and they went with the incumbent. So I believe a change is needed in the Gambia, not only in the position, not only in the incumbent. We need a change in the Gambia, from the legacy parties. We have a lot of political parties in the Gambia. But again, like I said, Gambian people, I believe the problem we are in the Gambia, if you look very carefully, the failure in policies in general. It's not just, it's not just a failure of individuals in key individuals in positions, though that plays a big part because leadership is a big part of the problem. But we just need to change the system already. So you need somebody coming into that, into government that has, that has no past in this politics, that has no interest in the current political system. We need just to clean house. So I believe that a new platform, somebody with a good understanding, somebody who is not part of these legacy politicians. I've never worked in this system before. I have never been part of any of the political parties. I believe I bring something unique to the political landscape here. Now, it is true that you have many candidates coming in, but as we know in the Gambia, not everybody who forms a political party has a genuine interest in actually running. Many of them would form a party so that when there is talk of coalition, they go and join who they believe is the winning side with the hope of getting an ambassadorship here, a ministerial post there. We also in 2021, you had many parties at the last minute, they all rush in. Many of them at the end got ambassadorships here, in one country or another. Parties like that will have come up. They will come up and you will see them again in 2026. They will come up again. And you can see some of those parties like that. They get registered. You don't even hear them. You rarely see them engage in media interview. You rarely see them investing their time campaigning independently on their own. My situation here is very different. Before I, in fact, even announced this thing, I spent years going around the country, doing engagements. There isn't a single constituency here that I have not visited in the Gambia. Not a single one. Before I announced my candidacy, I made sure that I had a very genuine and concrete discussion with Gambians about the nature of the problems they were facing. Because let's face it, if you want to credibly stand in front of the people and say that you want to be given the privilege to lead the nation, well, to show that you have any chance of addressing people's problem and taking the country forward, you need to have a basic understanding of the problem. You just can't read about it. You need to talk to people, convince them. And the difference here that for me, relative to the other candidates, is that all these other existing political parties, what you see, many of them do, not only the ruling party, but many of these existing political parties, or virtually most of them, is you don't see them going to talk to people. You don't see them going around the country until the election is approaching. This is not only the ruling party, all the existing parties. You don't see them going around talking to people. You only see that when there is one specific occasion or when they have, there is some by-election or an election approaching. That's it. The intervening 5-year period, the period between elections, they are nowhere to be seen. Is it any wonder that they keep losing to the incumbent? Because they have the same strategy, the same tactics. And, so at the end of the day, when the election comes, the ruling party ends up throwing money around here and there. They win not because people are gullible. No, they win because, if you look at it from the point of view of the Gambian electorates, these political parties all operate the same way. They all don't take the electorate seriously. And this is why they all have a terrible record, against the incumbent. So if we want to have any hope of changing the regime, but not only changing the regime, but making sure the political climate and landscape is fundamentally changed, we need a whole new set of parties so that the system is completely upended and is changed. This is why the country, needs not just to get the current incumbent voted out, but we need a whole new system in, and therefore you need something different from these same legacy parties.
When I talked about quality, not quantity, I was talking about the number of political parties that we have. I mean, and I imagine almost on a daily basis we hear of a political party form. So, I mean, the numbers to the electorate is going to be confusing and kind of depressing to so many people who wondering who to vote for. With a population of like I said, 2 million people,
Yes,
and all
yes.
those 2 million are eligible to vote. So it comes to a point where people will begin to wonder, are you real? Are you people real? I'm talking about, I mean, in the plural.
Parties.
Yes. And you
Yes.
talked about also the issue of also taking forming coalition only to serve in the incumbent government as ambassador or ministers. Where do you stand when it comes to this? Are you real?
That's a very good question, and I take it. I mean, I really take seriously the fact that you have too many parties coming. But like I said, first of all, you will see that not everyone who is forming a party is serious about it. So I doubt it's going to be confusing, because as the election is approaching, you will see some of these parties will not even make an attempt to get their official nomination. They will just be busy with waiting for the side they think is the emerging side and join them in a coalition. So in my case, the question is whether I am genuine or not. Good question, because how do I, what makes me different? Number one, like I said, many of those people who are forming a political party purely as an investment, if you think of it as a business investment, where their return would be reflected in a job or ambassadorial positions, that is probably the best thing they can hope for. If anybody who looks at my background, you will know, and as I've said several times, uh, I'm not, it makes no sense for somebody like me to form a political party just to hope for a ministerial post or an ambassadorship. I have left international appointments to come back that pay more than the president's salary. I have been engaging, I have my own private business here, a farm that employs dozens of Gambians. If I wanted a ministerial post, by now I would have been a minister. I have turned down an offer. I have turned down an offer, I mean, several offers to meet key people in power here, including the president. As recently as a few months ago, this government offered me a contract for $35 million. I mean, dollars, $35 million is some sort of a work that involves no work at all as a ploy for me to actually just, probably engage in that and not have to engage in politics. And what that amount I know is far higher than what they offered people like Ismaila Ceesay. So for me, if I were to enter in politics, it would involve a sacrifice on my part, not for me to go and get material gain. So when I say I'm entering politics, I have a genuine reason and a genuine desire to enter politics, not for the positions that it offers, but as a means to an end. And what is that end? A means to the goal, to the end of making sure that the rut that we are in, the hardship that people are in, the systemic corruption that is happening, the lack of development that is happening, to make sure that completely we get that out of the way and put Gambia on a development trajectory. Because Gambia right now, there is no excuse for the kind of terrible state we are in. Gambia is a small country with manageable problems. The fact that we are in this sort of development nightmare or lack of development is a profound indictment on the leadership failure, on the kind of political class we have in this country right now.
You mentioned Dr. Ismaila Ceesay. I mean, you're so brave to name individuals who might come after you for mentioning the name.
I welcome Dr. Ismaila Ceesay to come after me. I challenge him to meet me on any program to dispute anything I'm going to say about him.
Why do you specifically mention him? I mean, you talked about the lucrative contract they wanted to divert your attention on and why you turned it down. And you gave a classic example of doctor. Why doctor of all people? or individuals?
I mean, because he's a very good example of somebody who one time approached people, including me, telling me I'm forming a party. To use his words, he was about to go into a paradigm shift. He wanted to change things all of a sudden, right before the election, without, in fact, even approaching and directly telling his supporters, went and received payment, and then got behind the president. 1 minute you are saying that the president is clueless, has no idea what's ongoing. Next thing, you are going on national TV saying all sort of misinformation, fiction, complete opposite of all of the things you have been saying. What does that tell you about integrity of somebody like Dr. Ismaila Ceesay? So because of people like Dr. Ismaila Ceesay, I can definitely understand sort of the skepticism that people would have for any new entrant. People like Dr. Ismaila Ceesay, I feel, have been especially poisonous to the Gambian political climate, because now everyone who wants to enter politics, you have this cloud hanging before you, over you. People will legitimately ask, are you going to be the next Dr. Ismaila Ceesay? And I think that is a very terrible thing. Because of that lack of integrity that he showed. But unlike Dr. Ceesay, I mean, my background, Dr. Ceesay's background, apart from the fact that we both have doctorates, couldn't be even more different. I've worked, I mean, at the Columbia University, World Bank, UN, African Development Bank. I've had, I managed to come here, set up non-profit foundations that are helping thousands and thousands of Gambians across every region. I have a business that I set up with my own money that is employing dozens of Gambians. I've reached management level positions at international institutions. Right now, if I needed to go back to any of these institutions, I should have no problem. I have had international consultancy since I left. So Dr. Ceesay, on the other hand, was barely getting by, which was why his reason basically to join the ruling government was essentially a matter of survival. So in my case, I'm driven by a principled desire to bring about change. This government will not offer me any material reward that is bigger than the opportunities I voluntarily left behind. In fact, in 2017, I approached some members of this government that I was willing to work in any ministry as an advisor, in any ministry where they think I'm needed, on one condition, that I don't want a salary. I made that offer to this government. Even as little as a year or a few years back, I've had ministers approach me. This particular government approached me on issues like their relations with international donors, wanting my help on analyzing some document for them. I have actually helped this very government, receive a grant from an international institution.